We're getting into the debrief tonight. The Knicks firing head coach Tom Thibodeau. The decision comes just days after the team lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Indiana Pacers, despite making their deepest playoff run in 25 years.
And joining us now with more on today's firing is CP, the franchise. He's creator of KnicksFanTV and host of NBA Radio on Sirius XM. CP, obviously, you're a Knicks fan. We can tell by all the memorabilia behind you. So your initial reaction to hearing the news that Coach Tibbs was getting the out?
Yeah, Natasha and Bianca, it was stunning just because Knicks fans really hadn't had a chance to fully decompress after a brutal Game 6 loss at the hands of the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks falling just 2 games short of the NBA Finals. But not really as shocking for me, guys, because after the Game 2 loss to the Indiana Pacers, I had heard some rumblings from sources close to the New York Knicks that there was some frustration with the way that Tom Thibodeau was handling this series, from his rotation decisions to the X's and O's. And so it just seemed as though time had run its course for Tom Thibodeau. Listen, you have to give him a lot of credit for the 5 years that he had given to this organization in truly turning this franchise's fortunes around. But at this time, when the pressure is rising for this team to truly become a championship caliber contender, I believe it was time for Leon Rose and James Dolan, the Knicks owner, to make a move on the head coach.
I know you were hearing rumblings, but in your opinion, what's to blame for the firing?
There were many issues here in terms of this team's chemistry. The defensive breakdowns were persistent from the regular season all the way through to the postseason. There were reports in The Athletic, owned by the New York Times, that there were several players-only meetings held by this Knicks locker room during this postseason run. We were also told that during the players-only exit meetings just recently, as yesterday, the common theme was that players did not know their roles this year. And when the Knicks brought in Mikal Bridges, they brought in Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, the expectation was that this team would take it up a notch, but the chemistry just seemed off. And it's even surprising that this team was able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals despite that.
Okay, so it's interesting, though, hearing Jalen Brunson talk about that playoff loss when he spoke to the media. He's saying that Coach Thibodeau was the person to lead this team. Was he saying that just to be nice to the coach? Do you think he actually believes this? Because of what you're saying, it's talking about some breakdown between the team now. So let's make sense of this.
I'm sure part of that was true. And listen, Jalen Brunson is a consummate professional. He is the Knicks captain for a reason. I did not expect Jalen Brunson to come out just after that Game 6 loss in a press conference to throw his team under the bus. That's just not his style. But at the end of the day, there were clear issues there between the players and the head coach and Tom Thibodeau. And, you know, for Jalen Brunson, he is the captain here. This team does have a window to win a championship, and he will be consulted on who this next coach will be.
Last question, CP. Who do you think the next head coach is going to be?
I would take a look at and keep an eye on Johnny Bryant. He was the associate head coach under Tom Thibodeau with the New York Knicks for 4 years when Tom Thibodeau was first hired. He's recently been hired as the associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, one thing to take in mind is that Johnny Bryant is a finalist for the head coaching position with the Phoenix Suns, but he was a guy that Leon Rose and Worldwide West brought in, a young head coach who is known to be a good player development coach and have good player relations. And I think he could be the front runner for this job. Another guy is Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges' former coach at Villanova, and Jay Wright. The relationship with those players would lead you to believe that Jay Wright could be a candidate here, but certainly stunning news and something worthwhile watching as the offseason progresses.
All right, CP, you're going to have to chat with us again when we see who is going to be leading the Knicks next season.
For sure.
Anytime.
All right, thanks, CP.
Well, let's take a look now at some of our top stories at 6. The